All right. Yes, so good evening, everybody here in India, and a good afternoon to you, Zad and Judith. And
Hi.
yeah, and thank you for joining us here today. Thanks to everybody else on this call, and I think a few more will join, but I don't want to keep us on hold, pending others coming in. So without much delay, I would like to firstly uh, welcome you all again on this call, which is really meant to introduce you to the world of Fligby. And what is Fligby and what are we planning to do with you all today and share details? You will come to know in a few minutes. Let me very briefly introduce my colleagues and they are all the way into us in India. Beaming live is Zad and Judith from Budapest in Hungary. I don't want to pronounce all their full names because they warned me never to do that, but it's much easier to just say Zad and Judith. Zad is a co-founder of the product Fligby, which has been inspired and is also, in many ways, he's very much a part of the product. Is Professor Mike Csikszentmihalyi. A little more about him as we go along. So, to dive right into Fligby, let me start with saying that what is the reason for bringing in Fligby? As we all know, and this is a very familiar buzzword for many of us now in the corporate world, it's a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. It's becoming a lot more as we go along, and management needs to strengthen their learnings and their ability to cope with this VUCA world. So what is leadership development all about in the VUCA world, and how can Fligby help us in that? So some of the challenges that future leaders face is very obvious to many of us on this call. Information overload, the interconnectedness of systems and business communities, the traditional organizational boundaries are being blurred and dissolving, new technologies and disrupting old work practices, and very importantly, different values and expectations of the millennials entering the workforce. Keeping all these factors, and I'm sure there are many more, but listing some of the common ones, what we're going to see in the next, 30 minutes or so is how getting involved in the activity that Fligby shares with us, or we start practicing using Fligby, we can be in a position to strengthen our own knowledge, our own learning, to overcome some of these challenges in the VUCA world. I mentioned Professor Mike Csikszentmihalyi, a person who, on my own personal level, has been a great inspiration. I'm hoping, thanks to Zad, to meet him sometime soon. It's a sheer coincidence that Mike is today in Budapest, as some of you on the call might have heard, and he's there for a conference. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it this time, but sometime soon. What Mike Csikszentmihalyi did was introduce to the world this absolutely fabulous concept, this amazing concept of flow. And later he extended the application as it's written there in his book called, the book was called Good Business. And I would recommend that as a great read for everybody who's in business and beyond business in the larger community. And as it says out here, good business is a guidance for conducting business that is both successful and humane, and focuses on how leaders, managers, employees can contribute to the sum of human happiness, to the development of an enjoyable life that provides meaning to an evolving and just society. Now, to do that, we need to practice. It is not something that comes easily or readily to people who have, over the years, as leaders and managers, been programmed to a way of thinking, to a way of being, to a way of dealing with people in the workplace. This is tradition that has set in very deep, but with the changing world, we need to reprogram our thoughts, and Fligby provides this fabulous tool to help us on that particular journey. So without delaying further on this particular presentation, what I'd like to do is give it over to the experts. Zad, Judith, over to you. I'm going to stop my slide share and ask you to put up your slides, and and you can share your knowledge of Fligby with everyone. I'll go on mute too, Zad. So
Oh,
over to
thank
you
you.
and welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Krishna. So first of all, I have to find my Chrome. Yeah, that's here. So start the screen sharing, and here we are. Yes, okay. Here we are.
Actually, can you hear us well? I hope so. So what we are going to do soon, we are going to get into the simulation itself and just show you what is behind the scenes. Okay, how actually the Fligby works. Probably Zach would like to say a couple of words before I start the presentation.
So Judith is the head of the program development. So she is responsible for working together with our solution provider partners who understand the local needs and the local challenges very well. What we are doing is providing this wonderful game, this really interesting virtual environment from here in Budapest, partly, and partly from Los Angeles. I'm Zed, as Zed Vécsey, as Krishna mentioned, and thank you very much for being here. I'm the CEO of the company, and I'm really proud on this team, and not just because we are working really with large organizations and with organizations who found already of their meaning in the business life, but also because we created something which is enough interesting for business persons and wonderful partners like Krishna Kumar and his organization. So thank you very much again for being here. So what we've done is a special serious game. Serious games are applications which, based on video gaming mechanism, are using video gaming mechanism, but are not for fun. They try to teach you something. They try to develop some sort of skills. Judith will talk about later on in details. We created this game in 2012. The development started back in 2007. And now we are there that this is more and more interesting among our clients and among our partners who are using it. So you see the entry screen, the login screen, and I will give the word to Judith, just show you how it works. And in case of any question, just let us know and we will stop the presentation and ask them.
Okay.
Okay, answer them, sorry.
Yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. Before I would enter into the system, let me tell a little bit about this whole environment where we are going to enter. So what's the behind of the simulation? We are going to enter into this virtual world as a newly appointed general manager of a family-owned winery. And as I saw, Krishna put together a beautiful slideshow that I assume you are all going to get from him. And it also says why it's a winery and why a winery can be important for different type of companies that are not wineries. What I can tell you right now that the main focus of this simulation is on people management and on soft skills. And it's a winery because of Professor Csikszentmihalyi. He said that if someone can enjoy a good quality glass of wine, then that person knows how to enjoy life as well. That's one thing. The second thing is that everybody has an idea in their head how wine should be produced. So you can focus more on working together with people instead of focusing on on the hard skills, on the hard stuff, how it should work. Because if we place it, let's say, into a bank, then probably would people say that, okay, this is not how a banking system works in my office. Or if we put it into like an IT company, then people would come and say that, okay, this is not how it works in our IT company. But here you have a chance to really focus only on people. And let's log in and let's see how the surface looks like. And actually, I'm not starting with the surface, but I will start demonstrating you, and I will get back here right after my demonstration. I will start actually with the characters. I would like to show one or two of them to you, just to show that these people are real-life characters who you will have to work together with. I don't know. I hope you can hear the voice of the simulation itself as well, but actually we are going to have a subtitle.
Oh, hi.
Okay, so this is a simulation, and we are simulating a small family-owned company, and in most of the companies, newly appointed leaders get a mentor who helps them to grow into the role. This person, who you can see on the screen right now, it's a virtual mentor and guide within this simulation. And while you are going to make your decisions to work together with your team of people, who I'm going to introduce you shortly, this person is going to pop up on your screen right after every scene, or make your decisions, and he's going to give you advices how you should lead your team. Sometimes he's giving you real good advices. Sometimes you can have a feeling that, okay, he's trying to direct me to a completely different direction. Okay, so take his advices with a pinch of salt, but sometimes it's really important to listen to him. If you feel that his advices are far too much, you can easily skip his videos. But please don't skip the other videos before the decision points, because then you won't be able to make your decisions. And here what you can see on the screen are your team, who you will have to work together with as the newly appointed general manager. On the right, you can see Bob Turrell. He is the owner of this family-owned company. He is over 60. He would like to retire because he had a heart attack. And the funny thing is that as it is a family-owned company, you will have two of his family members working within the company as well, who will be your subordinates. So that will be an interesting question, how you are going to handle this situation, that you have his grandson, Larry Turrell, and his nephew, Joe Salieri, as your subordinate. Are you going to be far too soft-handed with them, or will you be able to raise the bar? You know, it's like just making the same type of approach toward to them as to the rest of the group of the people. So it's really up to you. But you will be in the middle of it. You will have Alex as your chief winemaker. He, at the beginning of the simulation, he's a little bit disappointed because of the previous general manager who just have left, and he feels neglected. We have Chris here, who is responsible for the machinery, for the bottling of the winery and all the machines, because it's a quite large winery where they don't pick the grapes with hands anymore, but more with machines. Then we have Rebecca. I'm going to introduce her to you shortly. I hope you will hear her voice, or if not, you will be able to read the subtitles under what she's saying. But just check her facial expression, because that already says a lot about her. And she's responsible for the marketing of the product. Then we will have Jen here. Jen is going to be your right hand, your executive assistant. And most of I like using her introduction video for active listening, because most of the people, what they hear is her constant complaints, and they don't hear the valid reason behind her complaints. So she's really good for checking out active listening. Then we have Larry Turrell. As I said, he is the grandson of the owner, and he's just becoming a father soon. Actually, during these 8 virtual months that you are going to spend within this winery. And he's the right hand of these two guys, Alex and Chris, and he cannot decide which direction he would like to go. Then we have Joe here, who is the PR manager. He's not really good at waking up early in the morning. Time management is not really his strength. let's see how you can deal with it. And then we have Ellen McMason, who is with the company for over 25 years now, and she's also the grandmother of some of Bob Turu's grandchildren. And let's see whether you would like her to retire or whether you would like her to put on a different role within the company. It's really, again, up to your decisions. What I can tell you that you have this group of people. You cannot hire new ones and you cannot fire anyone. So you have to manage and you have to solve every single dilemmas and problems with this group of people, okay? Even if you don't like some of them. And let's see how Rebecca introduces herself to you. And later on in the Q&A session, I would be interested in your opinion, whether you have met such a personality in real life already, or whether you would like to work together with her. What's your impression? Whether you think that she could be motivated. Okay, and what I can also tell you, that this group of people are kind of under-motivated, and they don't really have their focus is not going into the same direction. Okay, let's meet Rebecca now.
Introductions have never really captured my imagination. I find them stilted, awkward, and false. I don't even know what I'm doing here. James should have taken me along with him to Top Dog Winery. Anyway, it would be better for us to sit down and have a proper meeting. I look forward to discussing my sales strategy with you. Will this afternoon be good?
Okay, so in the Q&A section, I would be interested in your opinion. But what you can see that these characters are really real-life characters. There are videos going on, and I'm going to show you a decision point as well, how it's working. Okay, and an important thing, as Krishna mentioned, this simulation was built together with Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the father of Flow. There are three goals of this simulation. First of all, to find the right managerial decisions. You have to make over 150 decisions throughout the simulation. And out of these 150, we are measuring skills on 80 plus. And those 80 plus decision points have an optimal answer. And if you find the optimal answer that was set up by psychologists and leadership developers, then you would get points. And we are measuring skills there. So that's one aim of the game. Then the second aim of the game would be, from time to time, to help your people, your subordinates, to get into flow. You know, when their skills are balanced with the challenges on a high level, when the challenge is still a little bit higher than their skill set, but it's not too high, so they don't get anxious or worried. But they feel that, okay, I'm going to be able to fulfill this task. Okay, so you have to help them to get into flow individually. What you can see here is that every single character has a starting mood. And while you are making your decisions, it will influence their mood, and they will move around on this so-called flow map, or map of everyday experiences. Here you will be able to see the consequences of your decisions directly. Probably in real life, you don't see that, okay, this decision that this colleague didn't really like my decision that I made 2 months ago. You will see that, okay, she handed in her resignation because of that decision that I made 2 months ago. Here you will see how your decisions affect their mood. But be careful, because if you are favoring only one character all the time, then it would make all the other people to go mad. Okay, so you have to balance it out. You have to ensure that they feel good within the company individually, but they can also work together as a team and move the company into the same direction. And we are also, as this is a company, and you have to be able to pay their salary, and to pay their salary you have to make profit. So your decisions will influence the profitability as well of this company. And here what you can see is what I just mentioned, that you have to ensure that these people can work together as a team, and actually your decisions will influence the life of others, the life of the neighbors. So this corporate atmosphere meter will show that how much your decisions influence the life of others around you. And if you balance these KPIs out well, then actually you can win a so-called Spirit of the Wine Award at the end of the simulation. Okay, so this was here, this flow map. After every single scene, you can come back here and you can see how your decisions influence the mood of the people, how profitability is going on, and the corporate atmosphere changes here. We have a media library. If you feel that you would like to read more about flow and flow promoting leadership, you can do that here. This people is just light up after scene 3. You will be able to read more about the characters here. This is going to show the progress while you are in the simulation, and here you can change the game settings. After scene 11, you will be able to restart the simulation. After scene 11, all you can do is just move forward. Okay, this date and time in the top right corner is the virtual time. You will have virtual 8 months. And if you are doing great, then you might get another contract. Okay, let's see how you are doing for this 8 virtual months. I'm just going to show you how a decision point works, but we are not going to get into the details of it. Okay, this button is to move forward between scenes. He is going to tell you some information about the simulation. Scene 2. This will be your office, okay? And here's your boss waiting for you.
Hello, and welcome to the...
We are not going to get into the details because it's taking up far much time. So a decision point. Here we have only 2 decisions, whether to check out the winery's new website or not. But later on you will see that you will have more options, sometimes 4 or 5, or you will have to, just make reservations in a calendar, or you have to choose from options what type of tests you would like to do within the winery. Okay, but what you can see that when we are having a briefing, a longer one for 3 hours with a group of people, we ask them that how you will decide in this case, and they already have an argument about it. But some people say yes, some people say no, and we get into the details why they think this or that. I'm going to get back onto the surface of this simulation, showing you what type of feedbacks you can get, what type of reports we are producing, okay? So moving back onto the dashboard, you are going to get, I guess, a promo account from Krishna. So you will see here the play game button. You will be able to start the game from the top left corner or by clicking on the scene. You don't have to play the whole simulation in one sitting. You can, just leave it off somewhere and return and start the simulation where you have left off. As I said, you will have 8 virtual months from the 1st of March till the 30th of October. If you manage to put your people into flow, then you will get a flow trophy. And here you will also be able to see how your decisions influence the corporate atmosphere and the profitability of the company itself. And you will get a fraction of the online report. That's what you will see, but we agreed with Krishna that we are going to provide you the whole report once you finish playing. You will have to make a decision even in the 23rd scene. So until you don't finish it, we won't be able to provide it. But what I'm going to show you first is my online report. If you play the simulation several times, then you will be able to compare your several gameplay results to each other. That's what you can see here. And this FL refers to a preset benchmark that shows the average results of all Fligby players. We have over 10,000, we are around 13,000 right now, and these results are coming from various groups of people, from undergraduate students, graduate students, from the corporate world, from different levels, CEOs, middle managers. We have clusters from the banking sector, IT sector. We have people who played it even in India, at universities, in the United States, South America, Turkey, all around Europe. So from various areas from around the globe. What you can see here is the gaming results, okay, whether you won or not, the spirit of the wider world, the KPIs. But what can be more important for you are those 29 skills that we are measuring within Fligby. I told you that there are 80 plus decision points where we measure skills. And if you find the optimal answer at those decision points, then you can see the results of it here, okay? These are the first gameplay results, second gameplay results. It shows that for active listening, for my first gameplay, I found the optimal answer on 82%, okay, out of those decision points where we measure it. This is again the average of all Fligby players. And what is interesting, this P, this percentile, this is a kind of ranking. It shows that during my first gameplay for active listening, I was better than 92% of all Fligby players. Okay, here you can see the results by the results up and down, first gameplay, second gameplay, or by percentile. Yes, I'm not the best at delegation, but what I can tell you that what we are showing here is giving you a feedback on how you behaved while you were solving the problems within the simulation, okay? And it shows you that, okay, how strongly you are using each and every skill that we are measuring. These are the skills that I used strongest, and these are the skills that I used the weakest for solving the simulation, and these are the ones that I used the strongest. And what we see, and what's really working well, that those skills that someone is using strongly for solving the problems within the simulation are the ones that the person is using in real life as well for solving the problems. Okay, so we are giving a feedback about behavior. We are not putting people into boxes and saying that this is who you are. We say that this is how you behaved. And what is good about Fligby that you can try out several types of managerial behaviors. You can try to be a democratic one, you can try to be a laissez-faire one or autocratic one. You can try out different managerial styles, and let's see how the characters will react to that and what the outcome will be. Okay, and you don't have to face with angry emails or whatever, like from real life characters. This is the online report that we are giving on an individual level, but actually I'm going to show you a deeper level as well. And what is interesting here that out of these 29 skills that we are measuring, there are 4 that are directly linked to flow promoting leadership. And one of them would be personal strengths. A manager has to know his or her personal strengths and has to know the strengths of his or her people to be able to give them the right challenges, the right task. And to give them the right challenges and right task, that's what we call here strategic thinking, if I can find it. Let me get back to the ABC order. Okay, so what we call here strategic thinking, that's what we call in for flow goal setting. The third one that is important for flow promoting leadership is feedback. Okay, given the feedback, not just the right feedback, but at the right time, immediately. Especially the upcoming generations are looking for and requiring immediate feedback, and not a feedback once a year only or months later. They require immediate feedback, and it's also referring to the feedback that we can get out of the activity itself, whether a person knows that, okay, I'm going into the right direction or not. And let me give you a hint. If you are hovering around the top right corner of an area of this platform, and you will see a light bulb, and if you click on the light bulb, that's when a tooltip is coming out, or an explanation what you can read there. And the fourth skill would be the balancing skill, okay? And this balancing skill is balancing between the strengths and challenges and the possibilities and the skills. Okay, so you can read it here. Let me show you that if we having, okay, I'm just going to show you two more things. If we are having a normal group of people, then on the individual level, it's also possible to compare the individual results, not just to the average of all Fligby players, but to the average of his or her own group. And that's what can be more interesting for a manager to see. Like, let's see that how my people are doing compared to the group average, what their strengths are. You see, a third line came in, and that's the individual result compared to the group average result, even on a skill level. And that's what might be more interesting. And on a group level, we also providing a group report that compares the group average to the average of all Fligby players, or we can set different benchmarks, clusters, and an Excel sheet that contains the data of all the Fligby players. But what I would like to show you, I don't know whether Krishna has sent you already, but on an individual level, we have a 42 pages PDF report that contains the online data in details, and actually it gives much more information, and not just the data that you can see online, but additional information on an individual level. I don't know, is my time up, Krishna?
Yeah, I think you have covered it very, very well, Judith. Thank you so much. And maybe we can take a pause and ask if there is any questions from anybody. Meanwhile, I'll do one thing. I will share my screen, and so people can move forward on what they would like to do. This particular slide that I'm showing you is I'm just sharing this because it's on the screen, but I'm going to ask everybody, if there's anybody who has a question, you can do one of two things. You can either unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can type it into a Q&A box, the chat box that's there, and we will pass it on to the Fligby team. So I would suggest that since you're a small group, you can unmute yourself and ask the question if any of you have a question. But before you do that, let me just say two things. One, I will send you this PowerPoint that is being shown here. I will give you access to the recording that of this particular presentation. And if any of you are interested in playing the game, as Zad and Judith have been generous, we will offer a promo link for you to play the game and give you a report at the end. Hopefully, this has been exciting enough to want you to play the game. So this is your goodie bag, everybody, and I hope that you will use it. So with that, anybody has any questions, please feel free to let us know. Just have to unmute yourself on the screen and ask the question. Or if you don't have questions, that's perfectly fine too, because you can keep connected with me and Bhuvan. So I'm going to take a couple of minutes, or maybe a minute for anyone to have a question, or we can, go on to the next step. Please unmute if you're not asking a question. I mean, please mute if you're not asking a question. Does anyone have a question? Let me know. Well, Judith and Zad, it looks like there are no questions. So you obviously have done a fabulous job, Judith, of your presentation. Everybody must be wanting to play the game now. And what I'll do is that, I think there is somebody has a question in the chat box. Okay, Vivek, you've asked how long is the simulation including debrief? That one of you would like to take the answer for that, Judith. How long is the simulation including debrief?
Including briefing.
Including briefing? Okay,
well,
so what we are doing normally in a corporate setting, we are having like a 3 hours briefing where we put the whole simulation into context. And what we are always interested in is what type of problem the company would like to solve, because you will see throughout the simulation that it has so many layers and so many possible interpretations. So then during the briefing, we are focusing on those. And then we give normally like 10-15 working days for the people to play the simulation, so they don't have to sit down in the morning and stand up with aching back in the evening. Usually it takes like 5 to 6 hours to finish the whole simulation. It really depends on the person, how much time he takes for the decision, whether he's reading a lot in the media library or whether the person restarts certain scenes up to scene 11, but it's possible to finish it within 4 to 5 next 6 hours as well. Some people spend like 13 hours because they would like to try out so many things. And then we are getting back together for a debriefing after everyone finished, and we give a feedback on a group level, each. And if there's an interest, or it really depends what the company's need is or what the individual's need is, because we also have individual coaching sessions right after. But we never discuss individual results within a group and these debriefing workshops.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Judith. So what I want to do now, in the interest of time, is really to wind it up. We got another question. Just a moment. Okay. Now I wanted to just close it down a little bit because we are coming closer to the end of the presentation time, and add a couple of points for everybody. One of the slide that I've shown is actually reflects Fligby. It's in the fact that we try to get as much flow in the organization as possible, which is wonderful. Another fact that Zad and Judith have always emphasized when in our conversations, and I wanted to share it with all of you, is Judith, Jad, the group that is listening in are largely coaches, and almost all of them are coaches, and some of them are coaching on their own. Some of them are working in large organizations, you know, as senior HR people. So we are in the, you know, the people listening in are absolutely the right audience for you today. And what they have emphasized for everybody listening is that Fligby is best applied in a blended learning context. So it's a
Yes.
terrific tool that we can apply if you're coaching somebody. And I want to share that I've done that very recently. Very recently, I tested that out on a person. I was coaching a very senior corporate leader. And, you know, I was probably more than halfway through my coaching sessions with him when I asked him, why don't you try this game? And believe it or not, the results that came through were, I would say, an eye-opener both for him, and it was of a great help for me in terms of the level of awareness that person got, particularly as Judith mentioned on his personal strengths. So to emphasize, this is a wonderful, absolutely powerful tool, a powerful game that we can use in a blended learning context, particularly for many of us or all of us who are coaches on this call. So and with that, I'm going to end this presentation, but I want to give a few seconds and time to Zad and Judith. Thank you for, you know, joining us today, sharing all about this product, which is, you know, very, very helpful. And Zad, Judith, would you like to say something before we close?
Yes, thank you very much for your interest, and it was really nice to be with you. I hope that you will try this simulation. We would be really happy to provide you the results. And you know, it really makes us proud that something we've done here in Europe and partly in the United States is interesting in a wonderful country like India. So thank you very much for your presence here. And in case of any further question, you can turn to Kumar, and he can also provide us some further questions. We'll be happy to answer that.
Okay, what I would like to say that, you know, we got some feedbacks recently when they said that, okay, I got so stressed playing Fligby, and we said yes, because it's simulating real life situations. So don't be surprised if you will get emotional, if you get annoyed, or if you will feel anything like that. Because what I see all around me, that almost everything depends on emotions. Okay, yeah. We influence each other's emotions, and you will see that these people are really going to influence your emotions. And let's see that how you can handle them, and how you can handle the people around you after just playing with them.
That's absolutely wonderful, Zad. And Judith, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you everybody else for being on this call. I'm going to stop the presentation in a few seconds from now. And Bhuvan and I will arrange to send you the material. And do reach out to us if you wish to play the simulation. So have a wonderful evening, everybody. And thank you again, Zad and Judith, for joining us on this call. Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.